All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day today so far. Oh boy, already dropping frames. Looks like. Think we're okay. What's going on? Oh, really? So maybe do this. I'm just gonna go like this. Okay, got chat up here. There we go. Cool. And then let's just go to my YouTube. Alright. Okay, cool. I got the dishwasher going in the background. Let me know if it's annoying. Okay, what's up, everybody? Hope you're having a good day today. We're gonna be programming here in yeah, we're gonna be programming it up. Hope you're having a good day today. Okay, hold on, let me kind of get situated here with my off-screen stuff. There we go. Oh. There we go. Alright. Cool. Hello, hello. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Yes. Alright, cool. What's up, everybody? Think we're good here? Docs, control panel. Nice. Cool. Alright, we back. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. And if we keep dropping frames at 1440p, I might downscale it to 1080p. But that would mean I have to restart stream and then be kind of annoying. So let me know if the cutoffs are annoying with dropping frames. The internet here is just not fast enough. Looks like. Yeah, it might do it. Yeah, I might have to. I'll be right back. Ooh. Yeah. Number 3. Yeah. Okay. No, I think we're fine. We'll let it ride. Let me know if it's bad. Okay, hold on. I gotta sneeze though. Like allergies. What's up, everybody? We got a big gulp. Big gulp of piss here. We're ready to program. We've got our programmer juice. Big gulp of piss. Should be good. Ready to get started here. Hope you're having a good day today. Let me know what you're working on in coding. My name is Michael. I'm 27 years old. I stream myself learning and teaching myself how to program by programming and reading books and watching stuff and just trying various resources online. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry, and I work as a chemist, transitioning into a microbiologist professionally, actually, by title. So chemist and microbiologist. I'll have experience in both of those areas. As I'm starting a new job here soon, I'm kind of in a transitionary phase. But I've been writing a project here live on stream for a little while now. Well, that's what I do, apart from learning. And I've been doing a lot of coding here off stream this weekend, just kind of casually on and off in between things. I'll sit down for an hour, kind of too little of time to turn on the stream, but enough time to get something done, at least like little. I've been adding little feature by little feature, and I've been able to actually come up with kind of a working concept here. So I wanted to kind of showcase it to you guys here today and show you what all of our hard work has actually been leading up to. So welcome in. I'll kind of let some people funnel in here. Hopefully we get some chatters. That'd be kind of fun. And so, what's up, Tim? We got Tim here. When's the web app launching? It's coming up soon, Tim. Perfect time to be here because we're going to showcase what it actually is doing. We kind of have a working concept. I wanted to show you guys what it is doing. So welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Let's kind of let some people. Hey, Mahan, how's it going? Handsome Mike coming. Hey, glazing me, Mahan. Appreciate you coming in. Oh, we got to give Mahan. Let's give Mahan that mod status real quick. We got to add as moderator here. All right, here we go. The OG's getting the mod status here. We're branching up our stream game. As we've been getting some trolls in chat, we have to keep them at bay. Especially the spammers. Okay. What's up, everybody? Thanks for stopping in this eve. It's weird that chat got picked up, but it didn't pick up the last one. Okay, here we go. So this is Polyworld. So I'm not dead set on the name. I like the name, but I'm not dead set on it. But I hope you guys. So if you have any other names, let me know. But I kind of imagine it like for these like kind of Polymarkets or whatever, these prediction markets. For these prediction markets. I kind of took the poly part of it, and then whirl kind of as a play on the Pokemon, and then also like just a loop, kind of like a big overarching loop that kind of does something for us. So that's kind of why I called it that. It does a whirl of things, a whirl of loops. So anywho, what we have going on here in our structure of our project, let's first go over project structure. I'm actually kind of proud. I don't know, proud I guess is the right word, but quite happy with how things are turning out here with our project structure in terms of like organization. I've been trying my best to put together all of our learning, to keep things separate, to use proper modern techniques, but also not have it be too overkill for what our project actually is, and make sure things are distinguished appropriately. Now there are definitely places of opportunity or improvement, right? I have functions that are too big, that do too many things, that need to be refactored out for sure. But let's take a step back, the overarching view of the project structure, I think is pretty cool, pretty nice so far, for at least for my experience and what I'm able to do. Um, but I say, yeah, anyways. um, yeah, so let's go ahead and get into this. So let's go first bottom up, or no, whatever. We'll kind of jump around. So I'll first start off with this utils folder. So this utils folder is just kind of a generic kind of global function utilities for like general functions and stuff. Um, so things like get requests, like just general like get URLs, get URL async, things like that that get added on here. Things that don't have really relation to specific things in the other instances or directories, but these are just more kind of helper things overall. I don't know. So I'll then go ahead and first we'll skip over services here. We'll talk about models. So model is kind of related to pydantic models. So these are things that we want to use to validate data coming in through with our API endpoints eventually, hopefully, right? And also we use these to kind of model and be the object that we kind of pass around to create in our overarching kind of create these users and make sure the data is all there, right? It's still a class. We can still feed it all of the data to create this object and then use all that object to kind of move it around and do stuff with it. So we still can use it that way. And then it also has like this base model stuff, so we can use the pydantic kind of functionality within this class as well. So that's that. Now we then have services. So services is this directory with a file that has kind of the camel case or whatever naming for the related service that it applies to. So for this poly user model, there's a corresponding poly user services file. So it just kind of, it's similar to the utils, but it has actual kind of relation to a specific kind of object, I guess, is the way I'm organizing it. Now, there's no really rhyme or reason behind any of this. Again, I'm just trying to learn and be organized and try throw darts at the board and see what sticks. But this is what I was able to kind of come up with for this project at least. So yeah, these services, have various functions in them that do things for the poly user, themselves, right? Now, we then have a database folder. So our database folder just has our polybase object. So I created a database kind of manager object that opens the connections automatically if they're not there, gets cursors, has optional flags for getting a type of cursor, a dictionary cursor or not, using the psycop G2, psycho PG2, whatever you pronounce it, right? And we can have those objects be returned instead of just regular cursors, so we can have things be in like a dictionary format. Kind of like a JSON object almost, so we can really quickly maybe, like if we could kind of, we can just use like Python's unpacking operators, like the star or whatever, to extract out all of the, or just call like under dict or whatever, and then onto a new dictionary or to a JSON object and return that to as the API response or whatever. So kind of plan accordingly there. It's all coming, hopefully. So again, that's kind of how that works. Now, there's two types of kind of things you can do with this poly base that you'll really be doing, or I'll be doing as this runner of this program or whatever. Is that the two main functions I'll be running is this setup and the actual initialization of it, right? So the setup just sets up all of these tables. If they're there, great. If they're not there, it goes ahead and initializes them right off the jump. So that kind of clears through, gets things started. Let's get it started in here, right? The query. So then you have things like query. So a query doesn't make a commit. It just makes a query to the database to return some sort of data. Whereas an execute makes a commit and saves to the database, right? So then we can have various other functions such as like insert poly user, which inserts a poly user, makes an execute on that poly user model, right? That we're kind of passing around. I incorporated this morning, or this morning and afternoon, this kind of timestamp pass through. So as we insert a poly user model, we instantiate a timestamp before we call this and pass it through. So every user that got created within that kind of call sequence gets the same timestamp saved to it for that kind of snapshot run of data. And so it's really comes along here. I learned a lot about SQL, so having writing these queries out and getting a little bit of help with them. But a lot of this, 98, 99% of this is handwritten by Boy, just grinding, trying to just apply our learning here, little by little. So then we have right, and then we have the option to take a snapshot that we most likely will be doing. I have it just as a Boolean there for development if we don't want to save or anything and just run it, whatever. But typically, most likely, we will be almost always taking snapshot. Maybe I should make it set it default to true and set it, if not, don't do it or whatever. But if not, return right away or something. But that's what that does. And then the take user snapshot obviously passes again that timestamp through, takes the snapshot. So we have a poly user that gets applied to and executed to a database as a poly user in the user table, and then we can take a snapshot optionally to save into the user snapshots table. So, and it's really nice because we have really nice reusability with our code here, our code base, to quickly, right, just create tables by adding a function, set up blank table, and then calling the create table function within for the table name and applying fields, which are in our schemas here. So, our schema has all of our various fields for our tables that then we can add on to at later times and create and whatnot, and then merge the tables together and what so on and so forth if we need to make updates or whatnot. Now we could use ORMs or various other things like database managers, like things that track the mergings and whatever. I don't know. There's a package in Python that does that for you. That's pretty popular. I was reading about, but it kind of is a little bit overkill for what we need at the moment. I don't think we need to go so heavy into learning. We're already kind of getting into Docker, more pedantic, fast API stuff, SQL stuff, right? Postgres, like first time ever using that. So adding on too much here we don't want to get too overwhelmed to where we give up on the project. We're kind of at a nice flow. So let's keep solidifying this knowledge, and if we want to expand later, we can. So pretty cool on that. So yeah, that's how the database is kind of working here. Now, kind of to wrap things up here, you have overall the polyworld. So the polyworld is the main kind of engine class, I guess, that runs all of these functions together. It kind of is the shot caller of the project. So Polyworld is just the ability to build users, which are these poly user models, given certain addresses from Polymarket, right? So what we do is we have this asynchronous run going here where we call this build user for amount of addresses and gather all these tasks together. If we get exceptions, we kind of pass over them here and return a result of all of the users, these poly user models, right? We had to incorporate some sleeps into this because and kind of play with the amount of calls we can make. So I had to do some debugging yesterday. I had to figure this out. I spent quite a little bit of time off stream kind of figuring this out. Is this whole chunks thing? So to kind of more optimize the calls rather than having them happen just sequentially one after the other, we divide the address list into chunks of a various multiplier or various skip, right? Now this is for hard coded right now. I probably should abstract this out into a variable or to a parameter, but anywho, we have these chunks and then we can call the asynchronous run on the entire chunk. And what I was able to do was figure out what kind of rate limits they were applying to us, and kind of play with it a little bit. So I found that with a sleep of 4, we can run 10 addresses at a time, which is pretty cool. So I was able to speed it up a little bit faster with that. Now, there are a few things that we need to add but aren't super critical, I guess, is that certain profiles are non-public, so some people have like a privacy setting on their profile. So if they're picked up, then they will get passed via these exceptions, right? So they will get passed over and not have it get applied into the resolution. So or no, sorry, that's not true. Yes, that is true because we have that exception getting raised within the build user here, which is just this crazy function. I need to go back and refactor. I know, but we have here that this no, we're skipping here and we return none if user info is none. And what that does is, when we return none for this task, it is not included here in our save or in our result is not none or instance exception, right? So, and then there is the example where I had another thing I had to deal with was another thing I had to debug and deal with was that some traders, right, and some bettors have many closed positions in the past, and so to linearly loop through these positions and gather all of the data is fine for a small number of positions, right? Our leaderboard, due to the limits of what I currently have set up, and we'll get to that in a second. It won't get us more than, I'd say, maybe like 500 users or so. So we don't have a ton of data to go through and collect. It's not going to be like growing exponentially, at least in this current setup. So with a 500 limit max to the amount of users we have to parse, we can get through it in a couple of minutes, which isn't too bad. Now, just because we're kind of limited by the amount of API calls that we can do. Now, it's all internal API, Mr. Maha. Yeah, so that's the one. That's literally our bottleneck here. I'm trying our best to optimize our functions and figure out ways to batch and whatever. But unless we come up with some other options here, this is kind of what it is, I guess, from my research. Now, anyways, where were we? So these build users, right? And then we save users to database, right? Using our database manager, which takes in our database manager, which is instantiated here at the beginning of the class, function call, which builds a connection, and then we have take snapshot Boolean set to true here. So then we take a snapshot as well on the save user, and so. We have build leaderboards here. So this is what I've been really working on over this weekend. Was I wanted to, we needed to get a bunch of addresses, right? So what's the easiest way to get a bunch of addresses from Polymarket? Well, they have a leaderboard API that we can ping, and we can get a bunch of stuff. So I wrote this function. It actually didn't take me very long. I actually didn't need very much help with it either. it was fairly straightforward, and yeah. So we have build leaderboard, which takes in our client, asynchronous client, and then just a bunch of parameters for the actual calls to the API. We return a dictionary with keys as strings and values as a set of strings. So these are the categories, these are the periods, and these are the orders in which can be actually used in this function. So we have some error handling for calls of this function in case we have typos or whatever. This is just kind of, I wrote this in for debugging purposes. And we also force lower on all of these just for consistency. So I create this data structure here, which is this kind of hash table of the category as the key with the set, right, as the value. And these are for the top better addresses. Now this API, what it's doing is we are getting 50 of the top 50 addresses on the leaderboard for a given time period, for a given category, and given a certain order, right? So and then we have a bunch of these overall categories that we can apply and get many up to 50 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So up to about 500 addresses or so, 400 and something addresses, whatever the math is off the top of the head. Cool. So that's that. But then we have the asynchronous URL call to get the top betters, and then if top betters is none, we return none, and then we have go through when we add and we return. Right, so that's just our build leaderboard. So that's just an individual builds a leaderboard and returns the top better. So that's just on a singular level. Now what we do is the PolyWorld has the build leaderboards function. Right, the build leaderboards function, which has categories as well. So I probably can abstract these out to some sort of something or other. And so now here we open up this client with we do a which a context manager. So we use this client kind of to build all of these tasks and then gather all of these tasks into these leaderboards, right? So this is a list of all of the data structures, which is, the hash maps, or the hash tables. So then we have a leaderboard, which just is a kind of master leaderboard, which has the master data structure in there. Because we're going to merge all of these other ones as well once we go over them into master. So for every LB in leaderboards, if the LB is none, we continue, meaning that there was no leaderboard or no value there, like something happened with the function or whatever. And then we merge together, right? We learned about this in Fluent Python. We can merge these dictionaries together for any key value pairs that aren't in the left to become into the left dictionary, or to join in, and then we apply that to the master set, right? The values to the master set, basically the same concept. Now we return the overall leaderboard there. So in our testing function here, right, we have leaderboards being built. We have top users being created, right? The two functions we just went over, build users and build leaderboards. And then we loop over and print all of them, right? So now is the kind of time to run this function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go into our SQL here, and I'm going to drop table users, and we're going to drop table user snapshots, right? And so now we have that. So now our data is gone. Make a fresh start, which is fine. I've been kind of testing it here. So now what we can do is I'll show you kind of what happens here. Now it is a little bit of a long process. I didn't know about oh, this is a long process. I didn't know about the merge op equals to, yeah, it's a pretty cool one. I really like that one since I learned about it. I've used it a few times for just quickly, joining two dictionaries together for what key value pairs are absent on the R value and applying them onto the L value or whatever. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so, right, cool. So then if we go ahead and run this, boom. Here we go. Here we go. So I have a couple of print statements kind of stuck in throughout the program to help kind of debug. I'll probably add in a cascading Boolean for debugging to print those statements, yes or no, throughout the program. But for now, they're kind of just stuck there. But as you can see, we have 44 chunks to parse here. We just parsed the first chunk, which had 10 users. Now, whether we saved all 10, I don't have a current debugging print for that because I do have just a save for each one that happens, but I don't have a cumulative amount, so you have to actually count them, as it's going by. But because remember, the ones that have too many positions in the past end up getting skipped because they end up timing out because it just causes too much time on the program. And then, so right now I have it to just the past 30 days of closed positions. That was something I implemented, was a max or a period for the get closed positions function to go back to that amount of, a time delta of that period back and make sure that the closed positions don't, exceed beyond that point. And so that kind of gets a little bit of a cutoff now. It's not the best. So my way to combat this feature limitation, in my opinion, is that what we're going to do is the overall kind of leaderboard parser, the main kind of product for the Polyworld site will be, just a snapshot of maybe 30, and maybe we'll bump it up if we want to let the script run a little bit longer to 90 days. For the closed positions on each trader. But what we can do is allow for a feature on the site for a custom searcher, right? So a user can enter just any address into the bar and do their own search for all of the positions if they would like to wait that long for it to run. Now, it's not going to run too long. It's okay. And the thing that's really limiting us here is the API call only will send back 25 responses on the pagination. So when we're looping over and calling the API over and over again and changing the, what's it called? Basically the start point for the next run. In where you want to call for the next API call, it only gives you back 25 at a time, or it gives you a 429 if you increase that number. So so to go back, 100 days, if this was like a botted account that does like 250 or 500 position calls a day for the past year, right? It's going to take forever for this user to get built. So if the user wants to wait that long for the bot, they can go back as many days as they would potentially like to let it run. Obviously, that would probably be a paid feature. There might be a lot of compute power for that. But yeah, it goes pretty good so far. I haven't had any limitations on being banned here by the API limit. But what chunk are we on here? It's been building for a little bit now. See, as you can see, there was a 404 for a non-public address that got skipped. And so when we save here, we'll see how many got saved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 got saved there. So 1 got skipped, and then yeah, it's interesting. So we're on chunk 16 here. So it gets the basic info, which fills the users table. Then it gets the betting info, which fills the snapshots table, basically. Then I have a queue for whether it got 30-day closed positions or found all of them. So some of them are finding all, some of them are going beyond and having to be cut off by 30 days. It creates the win-loss objective, which kind of computes the statistics in this call here, and then users built, and then it calls an overall save. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All 10 were found and saved there. We didn't get any errors on any of them. So what we could do is we could take the addresses that have, privacy or whatever, and we could stick them in a separate data structure and display them individually somehow. For these were like the I don't know, but let me know what you guys think about this project so far. We're on chunk 23 out of 44. So again, we're bound here by the rate limit and by obviously Python, but it's not super Python. Like that's not the main thing that's being our bottleneck here. It's not like if we wrote this all in C, it would really run not that much faster. Probably maybe would a little bit, but obviously, but the API limits are what is doing it here. Now maybe I was thinking maybe we could do like a different type of algorithm on the actual parsing of the closed positions, but if you think about it, it's giving you back 25 at a time, and then we're looping over the 25, and so it really isn't that many to implement like a 2-pointer approach or something to do 25 at a time on a 2-pointer. So like, okay, we cut the 25 in half, but really what are we saving? Like a blink, because it's already getting through the 25 pretty quickly. It's just the API calls are what's stalling out each round of the pagination, right? So anywho, that's what we're currently dealing with on the project. As you can see, we're coming up over halfway done with the run. Now, I'm not like super, like, I don't really like, I'm not gonna like shoot myself over the speed of this program. I know it's not gonna be like super fast because of the rate limiting on the APIs and whatnot, but the intention for this specific product is that the intention of this specific product is to provide the snapshot on like a a daily basis, right? So we added in a last updated field into the database schema, so that as these runs happen, right, that timestamp gets hit into that last updated internally, and so we can display to the users when it was last run for the leaderboard. So it will happen maybe like midnight or at 3 a.m. every day or whatever when it runs live, or maybe twice a day, depending on whatever we decide. And then if the users want to individually go further for an individual address, they can use the other product that is more that is like the paid product. Sounds so dumb saying that. SAC eds. It looks them. Claude, is it they them? Claude thinks everything looks pretty good. We built it, using the coaching guidance, kind of the angel on the shoulder, angel and the devil on the shoulder, telling us what we're doing wrong and what we're doing well. A lot of it was strictly just words and pseudocode. We wrote the code, but kind of helping us with getting our ideas and just talking through things. We used Claude as like a rubber ducky and a TA almost. You can go back and watch kind of those streams to see how we interacted with it, but it did like what we have here. So I think that's a win. All right, got our programmer juice. All right, we're almost done here, I think. Yeah, we got 9 more chunks. 8 more chunks. Just math ain't hard, man. It's whatever it decides, Mahan. That it's okay. We're almost there. Almost there. What do you guys feel about the project so far? How do we feel? I might go back and download this video and re-upload it as a individual video because it was pretty a good like explanation of the project. No, funny. All right, we're 3 chunks away. 3 chunks away. Oh, all those ones are getting 30 days. Too long. Literally almost all of them are 30-day close positions. Dang, all of them were, all 10 of them. See, sometimes if it's like a new user that got on the leaderboard because they hit lucky, because they'll get picked up and then they'll get picked on quick because they'll get all of their close positions right there. There's one right there. They don't have that many closed positions, so 30 days covered all of their closed positions. All right. Here we go, last chunk. Last chunk, you guys, here we go. All right. Boom. 652 seconds. Oh my god. That's pretty bad. Oh, damn. Okay. So, it took quite a few minutes to run, but this is what we were able to come up with here. So now, let's go ahead and query our database with some query. Now, I'm not that good at SQL here, so I do have to get help with SQL a lot on these runs. So we want to, let's do this call here. So in this SQL call, we're going to call select count, and we're going to do a distinct count on the timestamp, right? So the timestamp column from which table? Well, we want to do it from user snapshots, right? And so what this is going to do is return us back a table, which will be the count of all the distinct timestamps in the user snapshots table. And if we're correct in how this is running, we've only run this script once. We dropped all the tables before this and we just ran it completely. There should only be one timestamp. It was one run. That timestamp was fed to all of those built users because they were built under that timestamp. So if you run this, whoops. Oh, shoot. Select, count, distinct, time, stamp. Oh no. It's like that. Distinct timestamp from form user snapshots. Like that. Select count distinct timestamp from user snapshots. Boom. What's wrong here? Why is this wrong? Why is this wrong? I suck at SQL. Why is this wrong? Tell me why. I got an error. Oh. What the heck? Okay. Boom. Count 1. Okay. Right? So there's one timestamp in there. So now let's run this query. This one's going to be long here. Sorry. Select timestamp and count of all as, so we're going to give an alias to this count of all users in run from which table? The users snapshots. And we're going to group by the timestamp. And we're going to order by the timestamp descending. Boom. So now we got timestamp, right? This one timestamp has 418 users in the run. Cool. Okay. So there's 418 users in the run. Right? That's pretty good. Now what other SQL can we do here? Let's see here. Okay, so let's try this. Select address and the timestamp and the EV percentage from user snapshots. Order by the timestamp descending limit 5. I'm going to order by the EV percentage descending limit by limit 5. Let me do limit 50. Okay, so that has nones, right? So some of them still have none. So let's go Q. We need to do a where EV percentage is not null. Is it is not null or not null? It might be is not null. Oh, let's go. Okay. So as you can see, got a couple of traders here with some pretty high expected values. Let's take this guy here. Let's go to Polymarket. Or let's go ahead and actually, let's do a query here. Let's be smart. So let's do select address timestamp EV percentage from user snapshots. Select Can we do this? US dot address US dot timestamp, and is it US dot EV percentage from user snapshots as US join going to do the column user dot URL from user snapshot as US join user as you. Oh crap. Join users as you. And then you do on? Is it on? Or where, like, is it a where you US address equals U address? I'm gonna have to look this up. This might be close. Let's find out. Let's find out. Oh, is that right? No way. Oh, no way! No way that was right. No way. I don't believe it. Yeah, right. Don't lie to me. Yeah, let's go. Okay. Open this boy up. Hermes 123 has been killing it lately. Not really. They've been playing small money. Well, they've been, yeah, just small money. Oh, they just been taking the yes at 99% and getting a free $600 over the course of a month. This guy's just taking the 99%. If he loses though once, he's wiped. I guess. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Let's try this guy. Dang! Bro has been torched this week. Up overall though. He's up over a milli. Dang! One day he's already down 13. That's crazy. Look at that. That is, bro. What? He's like lost half his value in a week. Bro, that's crazy. So why are these EV percentages over 100? Are they outliers? Like, it just doesn't really make sense. Right. It's kind of interesting. Why? Let's scroll down here to like more what's actually kind of maybe like in the average and what's applicable, what's actually realistic here. This guy's had a hot week. A hot week. This guy's just betting on oil, real estate. See this guy. Can you filter by bets for Arizona versus Utah State tomorrow? That'd be a good, like, if you could see how many of the top leaderboards are betting on a certain thing. That'd actually be a good statistic. If you could see how many of the leaders are betting on a certain contract, certain outcome. This guy's just betting on sports, Tim. Here you go. Here's your guy, Tim. Here's your insider. This guy works for the NBA. Oh, and it's got esports in there too. This guy's hitting on anything sports related. This guy is just smacking on anything sports related. Let's hit this guy. Let's see you. Ooh, this guy's up big. Down this week overall. Down real big this month. Whoo, half his account gone in a month. Dang! Blowing up his account. Tim, here you go. Is this you, Tim? This is Tim right here. Hey, Tim's up big. Let's go. Interesting. All right, you guys. So yeah, this is like what we get. Let's actually ask here. Let's take some of these higher ones. Let's feed these into Claude. And let's ask, why do you think I am getting greater than 100% EV or more general, these really high EV values, almost outliers to realistic traders? Come on, run that cheese. Okay, so it says, good observation. Values above 100% EV are a red flag. A few likely causes. Small sample size. A trader with only 5 to 10 closed positions in the last 30 days can have widely inflated stats. One lucky trade skews everything. Your average closed position size might be the best, might be $100, might be $10. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's take this address, or let's take like this 96% address. Let's take this address and let's run a select all from users where address is equal to this. Does that not work? Oh, I have to do a string, I think. We want to select all from, not users, but, yeah, select all from users, and then can I do a join here? Join user snapshots. On no operator matches the given name. Oh. Dot address. Dang. Wrong again. Here we go again. The query maniac. Hey, what's going on, Dax? I appreciate you joining me. If you go back into the stream, start the stream over from the beginning, I give a pretty detailed explanation of the whole project. So if you guys are new here or just joined in the stream, consider going back a few minutes and getting that project overview. It's a pretty detailed and good way to catch up here. Select all from users, join user snapshot on address equals. Yeah. Select all from users, join user snapshots on users.address equals to user snapshots dot address where users dot address. Oh, I was close. Where users dot address, I have to specify the specific column from the first table. There we go. Well, that is just crap. How to pretty print this? How do you pretty print like a SQL query and a oh, here we go. So you do this \x, expanded display is on. Oh, listen. Okay. All right. Okay, the last time we updated, right, this is for our boy here. This is the users table here. The last time, this is what I added here, the last updated was the last time we updated the user, and then that corresponds to the timestamp in the snapshots table. Okay, so this user here, let's go take a peek at him. Nice share. Local. Just wanted to see what coding in Python looks like. I'm learning C language after thinking this about learning Python. Oh, nice. Yeah, I kind of did it the other way around. But that sounds like a great task. You know, you'll be well prepared given that you know a good amount of C and can, you know, that's awesome. Yeah, I highly suggest you take a peek at some of the resources I have on my channel, from the live completion of CS50X to the completion of CS50P to the reading of Python crash course to reading a fluent Python, data structures and algorithms in Python, and many more resources there. I have more stuff in my Discord link down below for free. Everything's for free on my channel. I don't have anything. I'm not good enough at this to call for any sort of monetary gain, at least from what the YouTube ads are giving me here. I'm sitting here. So I'm not no scammer, but I appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, I mainly do this to showcase what it's like to teach myself what I to teach myself how to code, and if you happen to learn something with me along the way, then awesome. So do what if you make sure you do taking what I'm doing here with a grain of salt, as I'm not a professional in this. I don't have a degree in computer science. I'm a physical scientist in biology and chemistry. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I work as a chemist professionally for a company. So I've been doing this just for a year and a half, teaching myself through resources online and through capturing it here on stream. So if you happen to learn something alongside me, then awesome. But I'm not here to teach because I'm not a teacher in this. Yeah, anyways. But yeah, I have a lot of great resources though that do showcase my learning and what I've been learning, and I provide breakdowns and stuff of what I am learning. So this project, if you guys are wondering, I give a good breakdown at the beginning of the stream, so make sure you go take a peek at it. I give a breakdown of all my code and the project base, and so we're just going over some of these betters here and showcasing the project data that we were able to get out. So nice share here, has a pretty good win streak. 1 week he's brought in about $1,800. 1 month about 6 Gs, and all time 18 grand or 17 grand almost. So his biggest win though is not too large, depending on to his whole percentage of his portfolio. So he's making some. He's does not taking on too much risk, or not. He maybe has a strategy, we'll say. So it's interesting. He has an expected value of 96% here. So I'm going to take this information, and what we're going to do is we're going to feed this into the resources, into the AI that we have here, and say, this is a trader with 96% EV. His profile is very consistent on wins. So this looks legit and has many trades of 695. Yeah, this one's legitimate. Here's why. The numbers tell a coherent story. 90% trading win rate on 132 closed positions, very high but consistent. Average win is $363, versus average loss is fairly small. He has 6 months of history with a profit factor of 66. For every $1 loss, he makes $66. That's crazy. This guy is nuts. We might need to follow this dude. Holy cow, this guy's popping off. I think it would be fun to open maybe we just make an X account or a Twitter account for this, and we post maybe like a couple of traders that we find a day or something like that. I think that could gain some following. I don't know. It'd be kind of fun. What do you guys think? But yeah, this guy's popping off. Is it a guy? $2024 crypto stuff. Typical. Yeah, it looks like a prediction market better here. Oh, I'm sorry, Gina. I'm gonna have to decline this. I'm on stream right now. Let me switch it back real quick. Okay. Has programming helped you with anything at work? Yes. Hey, Colby. Thanks for the comment. Actually, bigly, hugely. I am on a team of chemists that don't have any programming experience, all the way from junior chemists, new grads, all the way up to senior software or senior chemists, staff scientists with no programming experience at all. Everything is very archaic on Excel sheets, Microsoft Office. Is heavily influencing the business suites, especially in these biotech companies that aren't very fluid throughout their entire networks or whatnot, as these types of companies that do like acquisitions or whatnot, mainly as their sources of income, but or for how their sort of the business model. But I was actually able to go to my my superiors, my management team, and be like, hey, I'm a programmer now. I know how to do some coding, and I had this idea for the specific type of math that we do for computing this chemical blend of these kind of matrix-based serums. So there's like these mammalian-sourced or human, or various sourced serums that you blend together to hit a suite, like a bunch of analytical ranges for these, let's just say elements, for lack of a better word. I was actually given permission to go ahead and spend some time, business hours working on this and developing code. Got VS Code on my computer installed, got the permissions and everything in Python, and actually was able to link up. I got the connections with a sister site in the company to work with another, actually an actual developer, where him and I built this kind of algorithm, if you could say that, for computing this chemical matrix, and then I translated that algorithm into kind of a project similar to this, I guess, but that it kind of translated our kind of archaic, you know, Microsoft Office, uh, you know, fundamentals into code and, you know, automated, and then and it worked. It was very successful in computing this kind of blend and finding like the most optimized, cost efficient, like, you know, first in, first out, first expiration, first out, kind of optimization. And yeah, and we just did a run with it for the first time, actually implementing it into a live blend, and the data looks really, really good, and super stoked about that. It's better than what I was able to do by hand, in terms of like I would have to manually calculate this by hand, kind of do plug and chug, guesswork. It would, you know, take a few hours to get a few combinations that weren't that good, that weren't that optimized for, you know, FIFO or different standards. And so the computer finds, you know, that best, you know, mathematical based kind of combination, and for the parameters that you give it, and it works out really nice. And so shout out to that guy that helped me write that algorithm. He helped with the kind of more of the advanced math part of it, like the linear algebra part of it, whereas I brought in the actual, like, what the chemical, like, matrix was doing itself, and the math behind the chemistry part, and together we were able to come up with it, and it was pretty cool. Then I built like a full GUI for it using Tkinter, and yeah, now so all the chemists can use it, and yeah, it's pretty nice. But the thing is I'm starting a new job, and so I'm having to leave behind this project to my, like, junior chemists, and so a few of them, or one of them is really trying to learn Python themselves to try to be able to take on this project and continue it and use it, and because they really are focused on maintaining this code, even though it's not like a super code friendly team or whatever. So they're trying to figure that out. Anyways, yeah, whatever. Anywho, yeah, cool. That's my story. Sorry, I'm sticking to it. Thanks for being here and listening to my ramble. Um, oh, you say expected value of what? Yeah, so he has $82,000 of unrealized underwater profit, though. He is potentially feeling some heat. Yeah, -1,000. Ooh, he's feeling some heat here. He might close some of these out for big losses. Dang. Oh no, he did lose these. These are active though. Huh, I'm not sure how it's current to 0. He did take a loss on these. Yeah, so the EV stands for expected value. It's the average amount you expect to make or lose per trade over the long run. So um, his expected value is $328 per trade. Yeah. That means on average, every trade this person makes is expected to return $328. EV percentage puts that in context relative to position size, meaning that he makes back 96% of what they put in on average per trade. So it's just return on initial, on your cost basis, basically. It's like return on your, okay. he has a massive, um, not even PyQt. And I haven't learned PyQt. I just quickly have learned Tkinter for some small projects that we built on stream, and I just implemented it in there because it was this. It's a pretty. It just comes standard with Python, doesn't it? With pip, or I can't remember. You don't even really need to do much with it, right? So that's why I think that's why I did it, because I didn't want to have too much like overhaul for people to have to install and whatever. But I've never actually used Qt either, so he has a massive potential loss, right? Exactly, and this is the tension your dashboard surfaces beautifully. Closed book is 43,650, right? Open book is negative 82,000. Its net exposure is negative 39,000. Oh, that'd probably be a good statistic, is net exposure. I have underwater positions, 83, which are his current holdings, and he has $2,000 of underwater value. His open partial losses, P&L. Out of his open positions that he's partially closed, he has a win rate of 34%. But he's taken greater wins on those closed positions, partial closes. On his actual close, his trades here, his crystal ball percentage is garbage, right? He can't see the future for crap, but he can get out of it. The strategy he's using is, I don't know though, this is pretty nuts. PyQt does come with it too. Oh, then I'm just dumb. I just haven't used it then. That's my only excuse. Yeah. Um, um, well, I think it's expected value. The equation of expected value is the win rate times average win, plus the loss rate times the average loss. So it's factored into a range of 0 to 1, I believe, right? No, that's just the expected value per trade. Yeah, those numbers are factored down into a range of, but it's like you can have a value that's greater than the 100. Yeah, so the EV per trade, and you're talking about the EV percentage. If the average position size is greater than potentially the expected value, meaning that maybe they took like a one trade, right, and they just made one trade and they hit really big. So their average position size is like huge trade, and they hit really big. So their denominator on the EV percentage is very large. No, it would have to be really small, right? So let's say they have to be small, inverse, right? So their average position size would have to be like, let's say, a very few amount of contracts for a very large win would cause a greater than 100. Yeah, so if the EV is larger than the position size average, then the EV percent could be greater than 100 for someone that hit huge on a really small position, usually a new trader or something. Right. Let's see what that says. Hey Videsh, how's it going? I appreciate you being here. Yeah, you can. I have everything I do. I got like 500 videos on my channel of just streams of me doing this. I've streamed about 95% of my coding. I very rarely do off stream project work or learning. Mainly I do all the learning here, and then I'll kind of go off stream and process it. Take some time to soak it in, internalize it. Think about my projects, plan them out, and then come on stream and execute and whatnot. But yeah, so it's all here on my stream. So go back through. I got Discord resources for free. I got Python crash course video. I got all that jazz. But it really, I will say that it's one thing to learn the Python language and what you can and what it can do. But it's another thing to learn how to be able to use those tools to apply them to real world scenarios. And that's a whole skill in itself, I think. You can be given a hammer and be taught how to build, hammer in nails into wood, but that doesn't necessarily make it so you can build a house. Now, I'm not saying with that analogy that I can build a house in Python. I'm very, very new at this. I can maybe build a dog shed that looks like crap, but in the analogy I'm using in relation to Python. But I'm hoping to get better. That's the point of this. So thank you. Appreciate that. Exactly. So so it says if the EV is larger than the position average size, then the EV percentage could be greater than 100 for someone that hit huge on a really small position, usually a new trader or something. That's what I said. And the AI said, that's exactly right. The math breaks down like this. Small average position size of like $10. One massive win is 500 realized profit equals 950% EV percentage. That's not the trader that is exceptional. It's one outlier trade dominates the average. That's why you need minimum filters before surfacing EV as a meaningful metric. So we'd have to want to make like ands into our query call for the number of trades is greater than a certain amount and the number of closed positions is greater than a certain amount, right? Or we could store an EV confidence score in our model. That's a pretty good idea. So if you say that the EV confidence score is either the minimum of the closed positions over 100, right? So the percentage of closed positions versus the average closed positions over 100. No, why does that have closed positions over 100? The number of closed positions divided by 100 is just like a divisible factor or something, or why? Or 1, whatever's smaller, is our EV confidence. So a trader with 1,000 closed positions gets full confidence, or 100 closed positions, while someone with, got you. So if we're determining the 100 in the denominator for, this is what I'm looking at here. So it's suggesting to us to add a potential EV confidence. So what this would do is this denominator here would apply a limit for, if you have closed positions over this sort of limit, then you have full confidence that this EV could potentially actually be like an accurate depiction of like a trader rather than a lucky one-time outlier or something. That's a pretty cool statistic that we might want to add. The only thing that's difficult with this current approach is it's kind of hard to add statistics. I need to get better at, I don't have any like create column in my SQL, so I'd have to just restart everything, which is not fun, which is fine because I don't have any data here. Anyways, it's just all to start here, but probably need to start thinking about that too. We got caught up on chats here. Odie says, you mentioned you were moving jobs. Yeah, I am moving jobs. I got a job as a microbiologist, so kind of in line with my major rather than my minor. My major is in human biology, my minor is in chemistry. So kind of switching up gears back to my roots here, I guess. Yeah, I got a job as a microbiologist, an internal transfer within my company to a, what's up with me stuttering? Jeez. An internal transfer within my company to a new site in a different city. So that's why you see me in this new setting from where I was previously in my old apartment where I previously was. I know I didn't reverse. That's the reason why I learned C is low-level language, and from what I gather, C gives you access to lower-level hardware. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm learning it right now. I felt kind of bottlenecked with my Python capabilities in terms of what was actually going on and what was, what was interacting with the computer with these function calls and these objects. And so I started to read C Programming: A Modern Approach by K.N. King, live on stream here, and I do video breakdowns and audiobook chop ups and uploads to the channel, doing all the practice problems and notes and everything, because I really wanted to learn what was going on behind Python. If you guys aren't subscribed, if you guys could please subscribe. Appreciate it. We just crossed 4,700. We're almost to 5K. Yes, but it's not ideal. I was frustrated when I started with C++ when I was 12, and now I enjoy Python more as it's useful in my daily. I'm new to this work, and I already answered that one. However, if you like direct access to systems, blah, 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 blah. As long as the function does what it's needed to do, you're doing good. Well, I can, yeah, I can definitely append new columns and stuff. I was just saying that in my poly base right now, I don't have any functions to do that. I'd have to add them. Or just do the query myself and make a new column and whatever and run it again. You know. Okay, you guys. I appreciate you being here. I think I'm going to call it here for today, though. This was a cool breakdown of the project and kind of showcasing what I kind of worked on a little bit off stream over this weekend and what we were kind of rounding up all together here. So there are a few things we do need to polish up and clean, but overall, kind of the minimum viable product for this kind of polywhirl parser for the leaderboard is working appropriately, at least for getting, all of the right 418 users in this timestamp run, right? And now we can make different snapshots and provide these statistics to our potential users and customers on like a front end. And I was thinking that for like our potentially like any paid version, if we ever want to go down that route, could be utilizing this query that we have built for, or the kind of statistic builder query in more depth for a singular for any address rather than just the leaderboard addresses. And you can go back in history for any time, right? Rather than just the 30 days that's currently being parsed out within the leaderboard parser. So appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me for today. If you guys want to see more projects like this, then let me know and join back. Hopefully we can make something that actually has some users that people actually enjoy. My thinking was that I'm not much of a prediction market bettor myself. I don't really want to mess around with that. I mainly just like investing in stocks and companies with reputable balance sheets and income statements and moats. But I figured why not, if this is getting some popularity, why not use our knowledge and statistics and programming and whatnot to maybe provide data pipeline to people that want to do the betting and maybe give the shovels to people that want to dig the holes, right? That was kind of my analogy. Anywho, so we have to start thinking about fast API, getting our endpoints set up, starting to build a front end. I'm honestly not too inclined about building the front end from scratch like we have been from our projects. I'm kind of thinking we just let Claude do it. Oh no. In terms of just like maybe the bare bones structure of the front end, but the styles and stuff will still be creative and unique on from what we usually do and how we use Photoshop and everything to build cool, fun designs. But in terms of like doing the boilerplate front end, it really doesn't interest me at all to do that again. I mean, it's just kind of annoying to do, in all honesty, in my opinion, from my perspective. So, anyways, I'll see you guys later, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on stream, where we'll continue on with our project. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.